Factor. I'm your host, Travis Brown, and this is where we break down the mindset, the moves, the moments that help define the success of the best of the best. I'm talking to executive leaders, entrepreneurs, athletes, coaches, gurus who tap into that positive attitude and energy. They have excitement, enthusiasm. They live on purpose, and they do it with their passion successfully to do what they were born to do. And that's what I call the Mojo. So today, please help me welcome my guest, Randy Lewodowski, who is the president and CEO of the Indianapolis Indians. Randy, welcome to the show.
Travis, thanks for having me. Appreciate it very much.
I'm going to start with a zinger here. So you've been almost like only job ever, at the Indianapolis Indians. What is one of the greatest memories of being in that park and being a part of the Indians?
Oh, well, I'm getting ready to start my 32nd season. And as I often say, I've been silly enough to stick around and they've been more silly to keep me. So it is really the only place that I've ever worked. So it is a bit of a unique perspective. I mean, there's so many over the course of, 31, 32 years. A couple that jump out. It's a little known fact. I was the last Indians employee to leave Busch Stadium when we opened up Victory Field on July 11th, 1996. So I was in the ticket office at the time. That's where I cut my teeth and got started. And so I was the last one to lock the door. I had the ticket office shift there on July 11th in the morning. And then I got in my car and drove on over for the excitement of opening up a brand new ballpark. And so that's early in my career. I'd say mid-career. Indy hosted the Super Bowl 2012, and we hosted the DirecTV Super Saturday Night and their Beach Bowl. The Patriots had their post-game party here in this massive 65,000 square foot tent that was erected out in our outfield. I mean, that's something that doesn't have anything to do with baseball, or you never think you're going to get into it. But when you put on events, you get to wander into some pretty cool stuff like that. And so I think those are a couple things that immediately come to mind.
Yeah, I don't know if I've ever told you this, but, I lost a state championship game at Busch Stadium, 1994, which is my junior year. We lost in a state championship. And so, every time I drive, by Busch now, which is they've done an amazing job creating that into something amazing, I still kind of have that, like something just in me that just still is irritated by, that experience 20 some years ago.
Well, but I'm sure it was still a great experience, although a different experience between Busch Stadium and Victory Field. But I probably was there. I've been at every high school state championship since then. I think we've hosted it all but 1 year. We had a scheduling conflict, and we're big advocates of the IHSA and what they do, and really that opportunity that presents to young baseball players. I mean, for Victory Field to be the goal for however many high schools there are in the state of Indiana, to be their road that they want to get to, that helps us certainly PR-wise, but we're in the state capital, and we ought to be hosting the state championships, and that's why we set aside the dates if we can, and host the IHSA and all those young baseball players.
When you think about baseball, and I grew up playing baseball, actually chose to play college football instead of baseball, which kind of ended my career. But I think often you think about what happens on the field. Obviously, talk to us a little bit about your role, because your role is more about what happens off the field, and the kind of the surroundings that just allow and frees up the awesome things that we actually see as fans. So talk a little about your role and all the things you're doing off the field.
Yeah, and that's what makes minor league baseball unique. Most professional sports organizations have some input to their ultimate product, which is what happens on the field. That's not how it works in minor league baseball. The major league club, our affiliate, the Pittsburgh Pirates, who we've been affiliated with since 2005, that's their job. They manage their player development system up and down. They assign where they think the players ought to go and move them between levels, either up to the major leagues in Pittsburgh, to AA in Altoona, trade them, release them, whatever else it might be. When I got started in my career, I would have thought, hey, if I'm going to be a general manager, that's what I want to do, right? Trading players, signing free agents, building a roster, all those kinds of things. As I got into it, what I really enjoyed about this is we run the business. And so our business is the game of baseball, but it's also Victory Field and the experience that we can create, because we don't necessarily control the end product on the field, but we control what goes on and around it. So that was very unique. But what our duties are is we repair and maintain Victory Field from A to Z. We do the marketing, we do the selling, we do the customer service, anything that would be around a regular business, except for when you come to a game at Victory Field to watch the Indians play. when you see the people on the field, either in uniforms or in the dugouts, by and large, we don't have a whole lot to do with that. Now, we have relationships and there's lots of coordination. We book the travel and we do lots of those other things, but it's very unique than any other professional sport how minor league baseball works. So that's a little peek behind the curtain of how that goes.
Yeah, I thought that was kind of fascinating when I was learning when we were spending some time together about that role and how you think what the role is versus what it actually entails. But, something that's different about minor league sports, especially minor league baseball, is the community aspect of it. It's not as obviously on TV as much. You don't know about some of the guys.
Sure.
So talk a little bit about like how important are the Indians to the community of Indianapolis, greater, obviously Indiana. But like how is that feels just different than, the major league side of it.
Sure. I think one of the things that really benefits us in this market, we've been around since 1902. There's been professional baseball played in Indianapolis since 1902. So we've got a very long history. That means we're Indy's oldest team. And that's no deference to the Colts, the Pacers, anybody else. We've just been around longer. So that helps us a little bit from that historical perspective, no doubt. Really, it's about that community aspect. We think Victory Field and we position it as a community gathering place. Yes, we have 75 Indians home games, but it's for runs, walks, charity events, whatever else it might be. So we build it around that. And then for us, for our home games, which is our core business, it's really about the experience and making memories. We always have a value message. It's all those other kinds of things that we have to roll up into one big offering that I think we've become well known for. And it's what our place is within the sports community and the entertainment market. We fit this weird niche that baseball, it's professional baseball. It's played at a very high level. I mean, Travis, our guys are really, really good. Now, they're not going to be Indies guys because this is a pass-through for them. Their goal is to get to Pittsburgh. We understand that. But I think the thing that makes it unique is then there's better accessibility sometimes too, whether it's our autograph sessions on the concourse or our free kids clinic that we do pregame one night a year. It's those kinds of moments that you're probably not going to get at a major league game. Or anything else. So we just try to differentiate ourselves with that and try to integrate that and make sure it's about families, kids, groups, and really make it about the experience at the ballpark.
One of the things growing up as a baseball player, and I played for Hall of Fame baseball coach named Jake Burton in Indiana, and he was a field maintenance like crazy man, right? And I remember all those days of being on the rakes. After everything, dragging the field, taking care of it. But I learned a lot about precision and how the court or the field is maintained. I'm just curious because I've been blessed to play in 3 or 4 of the celebrity games at Victory Field. And I was always just amazed, like, man, the outfield is just like, it's perfect. And it's just immaculate. And just everything is just so perfect, right? And it's real. Mm-hmm. What's the maintenance like and what kind of headaches are around maintaining a field that is very well widely respected in the minor league industry?
Yeah, most people don't realize that it's a science. I mean, we have 3 full-time groundskeepers. Our lead guy, Joey Stevenson, has been with us since 2007. One, it's a labor of love. I mean, how many people like to mow their grass at home? Well, these guys, during the season, we cut the grass just about every day. And during a homestand, it's every day. We may go every other day when the team's on the road. Believe it or not, the grass is the easy part. The dirt surface to make sure that the moisture content, the lines, the edges, the slopes, they all have standards that need to be met that are set by Major League Baseball, and they're rigorous. And it's a day after day job, and it's always growing and moving because you're going to have, during the course of a game, you're going to have 9 guys on each side affecting that playing surface. So it is. It's a labor of love. It's intensive. I don't know how they do it because, again, it can be very monotonous.
Yeah.
It's day after day. And then we haven't even talked about Mother Nature. And that's Mother Nature's our biggest benefit sometimes when you get 75 and sunny. But we don't like thunderstorms and rain and severe weather. And that's going to happen over the course of a 6-month season. And trying to deal with a 175 foot by 175 foot piece of plastic called a baseball tarp is a challenge. And I remember back in my days in college, we had to go out and pull that thing on, off. I remember there was a time we had to chip ice off the tarp to play. I mean, it's all you get into some really crazy scenarios with the weather, field maintenance, and everything else. But the field is our differentiator, both from a performance standpoint, but also, again, any other sport, there's still something about where the grass meets the dirt, the sights, the smells, and the sounds, and that's what makes baseball unique.
Well, I got to ask you then, because I'm old enough to have played in a more traditional environment. Although I think when I was playing in high school, Indiana State had a turf field, and I played in a few turf games. But there's this new thing around the artificial turf, and for like old guys, it's kind of like, if your uniform can't get dirty, is it really, like, talk to me about that. Like, but you guys have kind of maintained that, at least at this point in time. Like, what's the makeup now out there in major and minor leagues facilities with this turf?
Yeah, there's still predominantly natural turf fields. The proliferation, tough word for me to say, of the turf fields is really on the youth side. There are some, like, I think off the top of my head, Pensacola, Florida has a turf field, and that's just because of weather. It rains. There's so much rain down there. They're a Double-A club. So there are a few sprinkled out, and some maybe want to mirror their major league club if they're in their system. But most professional fields are going to be natural turf. But really, it's on the youth side. I mean, here in
college too, though, right?
What's that?
Isn't college too? Did Omaha do the same thing?
A lot. I think Omaha still may be, for the World Series, may still be natural, but it's about playability. We're doing this podcast at the end of February, Travis, and college seasons have been started and played for 2 or 3 weeks now.
Yeah.
I graduated from Anderson University, and I follow them. They just played at Grand Park before they even go to Florida for their spring break games. So it just allows you, especially in the Midwest and in bad climate or challenging climate areas, to play. So it makes sense. But yeah, as a traditionalist, I think at the pro level, I think you're probably always going to see natural. And you even see some of that. I just read an article about that's going on with the NFL Combine. There are so many NFL fields with the domes and indoor stadiums and retractable roofs with turf fields, but the players would much rather grass. And that's the same in baseball too. There's no guys, just wear and tear. You think about 162 games on turf versus natural grass. They're going to vote natural grass all day long.
And talk a little bit about what's the totality of the minor league schedule. How many total games do they play? What does that schedule kind of look like? Because obviously major league have an idea what that is. What's minor league like?
Yeah, we're at AAA. So it's varying levels. So there's 4 levels of minor league baseball now. So 5 overall. You got the major league, yep. Then AAA, which is us, AA, High A, and then Single A. I'll miss the other ones, but we in AAA play 150 games.
Oh, wow.
AAA almost mirrors the major league season. We start the day after the major league season starts, and then we end 1 week before.
Wow.
When Major League Baseball took over the minor leagues and managed them directly, that could be a whole separate podcast. But in 2020, and it didn't have anything to do with the pandemic, but it aligned with the pandemic timing. That's when Major League Baseball took over our scheduling and lots of other things in regards to the minor league operation. And that's when we had been slowly shrinking our schedule, and now it's back up to 75 home and 75 road games. And that's on the AAA level to more closely mirror that major league schedule, because our roster almost ends up being like a taxi squad, and they need guys on the ready playing competitively because they may need performance reasons, injury reasons, whatever else it might be, need somebody called up to the major leagues. And they want them playing competitive games so their skills are sharp, both physically and mentally. Because you can, Travis, you're an athlete. You can go work out, you can go practice, but it's still not the same as game reps. And on the AAA level, there is so much movement between Indianapolis and Pittsburgh. The last couple of years, we've had 75 or 80 guys on our roster during the course of a season. It's a 27-man roster. So it's turning over almost 3 times with so much movement with injuries, but player movement, and they really want them ready to go up to Pittsburgh at a moment's notice.
And so I think about the game of baseball, and I think about the operations of 75 home games. Talk a bit about the amount of staff that it takes. I know you guys have a massive amount of interns that have their opportunity from a marketing perspective. Talk about running that from an organizational leadership perspective. What does that look like?
Well, we probably have one of the larger staffs in all of minor league baseball. We're up to about, I think it's almost 60 full-time. That'll be our largest, and that's a product of the world is more specialized. With everything digital and content-driven, we're generating most, if not all, of the content that you see about the Indianapolis Indians. We don't get a ton of, I guess what I'd call free media coverage much anymore. It's just, the sports segment anymore on the news stations is so quick, it's hard to get, some space in there. So anything we're doing is very specialized. And so our staffs continue to grow. You mentioned an intern program. That's how I got started. Now there were 3 of us back then. We'll now do anywhere between 12 and 15, what I call almost full-time internships, where they've already started. They usually start around February 1, stay with us through the end of September. They're typically now college grads. Back in my day, or in the middle of all this stuff, they might have been a college junior or a senior now.
Yeah.
With the requirements, usually they've already graduated. It's a great way for us to see what they've got, and they get to see what it's like to work in sports. Because a lot of people say they want to work in sports, but until you do it,
until they see the grind.
We're a lifestyle business, right? Travis, when you want to bring your family down, it's a weeknight, it's a weekend, it's a holiday, and instead of being with your family or your buddies, you're working. And you learn real quick when you want to get into the industry whether you are cut out for the lifestyle business. Because there is some glitz, there is some glamour, but most of the time it's just a lot of good old hard work behind the scenes to put on 75 events. We play, it varies, but in general, think every other week we play Tuesday through Sunday. There's some variances where we'll be on the road for 2 weeks in a row or at home for 2 weeks in a row. But in essence, from April 1 through September 20 or 25, every other week we're home for 6 days. And it's 6 days in a row, and there's no harder schedule than pro baseball. There's just not. So if you can handle that, you can handle any other professional sports league schedule.
Well, we're going to take a little break and do a baseball-themed Would You Rather. So I told you at dinner, my son, who's 9, my daughter, who's 11, we always have this Would You Rather. He likes to do crazy ones like, would you rather go to the moon or go to the bottom of the ocean? Would you rather have to, swim with an alligator or a shark? But you're getting baseball version today of this. So here we go. Would you rather have peanuts or Cracker Jacks?
Oh, peanuts.
Play in a traditional stadium or brand new state-of-the-art?
That's a tough one. I think I would probably say, I'm going to say, I'm going to go brand new stadium, state of the art.
Throw a perfect game or walk off grand slam?
Yeah, neither. A grand slam. It's a lot easier to celebrate with all your teammates at home plate.
If you have to get hit by a pitch, you take it in the arm or the leg?
Oh, the leg. Especially now, when I played, guys didn't throw as hard. The way they throw now, 95, that's like average. I don't have it. You're a much stronger guy than I am too, but I want it down low.
Fun fact: when I graduated high school, I had the state record hit by pitch. I was a leadoff hitter, so I was always trying to take one, get on base, and to catch one. So the hit by pitch is. If
you did that enough, that meant sometimes it was going to come on purpose too.
Right. Rather play under the night lights or Sunday afternoon?
Night lights.
Have a Hall of Fame career as a player or a legendary sports executive?
Well, I would love to be a player at heart, so I'm going Hall of Fame player.
Bring a Major League Baseball team to Indianapolis or see the Indians win 10 straight league championships?
Well, we missed the boat a long, long time ago to bring Major League Baseball to Indianapolis. When we still get that question a lot. If you don't mind me, this is would I rather 10 league championships, just because I know bringing a Major League team to Indianapolis is likely never, ever going to happen because of our proximity to Chicago, St. Louis, and Cincinnati. And that's just, again, you talk about how and why that would have had to happen a long, long time ago. And with territories and everything else, I just don't think it's ever going to be in the cards. So we'll take 10 league championships.
Rather hit 100-mile-an-hour fastball or throw one?
So I'd like to throw one.
I just think about that.
I pitched a lot in high school. I pitched some in college. And I'm a lefty, and lefties aren't necessarily known for throwing very hard. So if I could have stood up there and blown it by somebody once I got beyond 12 years old, that would have been a nice feeling to have.
Would you rather break the home run record or consecutive games played?
I think consecutive games played. That's synonymous with that. I talked about that working in baseball and everything else. I'm still old school, and there's some silliness to me that doesn't like to miss many games or any games. You want consecutive games.
All right, well, you're off the would you rather hot seat, but we got our rapid fire come a little bit later. Right. So let me ask you this: like in your journey, obviously the success that you've had, you could have left and chased maybe going to the major leagues or doing that. Like, why stay in the role in Indianapolis? Like, what was so important for you that was your path?
That's a great question. Early on, I don't know that I really discerned it that way. When I look back, Everybody, and I even tell this to our young people, that, I mean, everybody gets anxious about what's next in their career, right? And I was no different. When I started as an intern, I did 2 years of internships before I even got a full-time job, and that's when we moved to Victory Field. But it wasn't a couple of years in, and I started looking around going, all right, what's next? Where am I going to go? Oh, my gosh, the guy in front of me has been here for 10 years. He's never going to go anywhere. And you start getting antsy. So you start to look around.
Yeah.
Somebody in my world, God, has a plan for you, right? And how, whatever you believe or not. And, yeah, I was fortunate enough to stick around. And maybe when I did poke around, those opportunities didn't come to fruition. Mm-hmm. I probably did that at 3 or 4 different points in my career. I thought about thinking about chasing the major league thing. I told you the initial dream of sports management, getting into baseball, I thought is the step to being a real general manager, meaning like managing rosters and chasing championships from that perspective. I think what I learned is Indianapolis, I'm a Midwest guy. I was born in Chicago. I grew up in Fort Wayne, went to school in Anderson. So Indy made a lot of sense. Great place to live, work, play. I've grown as the city's grown and everything else. That's a big part of it. I'm a Midwest guy. I had opportunities early on to go East Coast, West Coast, and then right into the middle of the country, which could be classified as the middle of nowhere. I just chose not to, and saw great opportunities here. I just was always giving opportunities to advance and grow within the organization. And I think once I settled in and realized when I saw that was probably, 2009, 2010, so 15, 16, 17 years into my career. I then realized that you can really just hunker down and make this the place where you want to be. So lots of thoughts, lots of different things. Try to give that advice that, hey, quit trying to project what's going to happen to you a year from now or 3 years from now. Do your best, give your best effort. Those opportunities, both internally and or externally, will open for you if you just continue to put your nose to the grindstone and do a good job.
Well, I love that advice, because one thing that sometimes I'll ask is like, what advice do you give? But you kind of just laid that out. And I think it's also about being in the present and owning what you have in front of you and doing what you can, and doors will open. I'm like you. Every time I think I wanted to do something different, like God just closed all those doors and said, I'm not letting you go do whatever it is you think you want to do. And that's how I kind of stayed on this course. Now, you played baseball, high school and college. Like, how did that shape your leadership of kind of the leader that you are today?
You know, the baseball side, I wouldn't say there's a ton. Well, there's some. I mentioned chipping ice off a tarp. That happened in college. I don't know. Coach Don Brannon was my college coach. He was legendary, 1,000 wins coach at Anderson University for 40 years. It was a Saturday morning. I think it was my sophomore year when I wasn't even playing a whole heck of a lot, and I was probably a little bitter. But you're out there, and I'm next to him. It's a Saturday morning at 8 o'clock. It's 32 degrees, and we're all trying to chip ice off the tarp so we couldn't even pull it. It was so heavy. And I happened to be next to Coach Brand. I said, Coach, what in the world are we doing? And my nickname back then was Lou. And he said, Lou, I'm going to tell you that when we put a game on the schedule, we're going to do everything we can to play it. Whether it's bad weather, we don't have the pitching, whatever else it might be, you honor the schedule. And that's something that I've always taken with me from that moment, because we'll get it a lot of times. Our fans don't like to sit through rain delays. Our players certainly don't like to sit through rain delays. But everybody is, you talk about those 75 games, every game is its own unique event. Lots of people have put their time, effort, and energy either to attend or to plan or to execute that event. And it's our job as administrators of the game to do everything we can to honor that schedule and play those games. So that's one thing I think from playing, and something that I learned early on in college that has translated over. I think some just being, it is not a prerequisite to get into pro sports and to what we do in front offices to have played. But I think it does help in my role as the liaison with the Pirates, our field manager, their minor league baseball department. You just understand some things, and the locker room and the clubhouse. Though I was never in a pro locker room or clubhouse, there's some of those things that still translate, even from that when I would have played 30 and 40 years ago. So I think that helps a lot from that perspective, and you just kind of know what to expect, and you just feel a little more comfortable in some of those situations.
You know, what's interesting is that, obviously we have Colts and we have Pacers and Fever, and they're on the major side of it. You're on the minor league side of it. But how does the Indians really help shape the sports culture of Indianapolis?
Yeah, well, I think I mentioned it earlier that we've been around the longest. And that just gives us a leg up. That's why we are as well known as we are, because it's generational. And that means a lot. Baseball is one of those also, it's one of those, it's the national pastime and one of those time honored traditions that get passed down from generation to generation to generation. And we see that here. And it's about the family aspect. And I think just being around so long, being a part of the community, caring about the community, for so long. I mean, there were opportunities, in our history for the team to move. And Max Schumacher always wanted to make sure that the club stayed in Indianapolis. I mean, there was a public stock sale to save the franchise back in the mid-'50s. A lot of people don't know that. We're still community owned by shareholders from that stock sale. Now, it's been through a bunch of different iterations and everything else, but that's unique. And that was to save the team, much like the Pacers, I believe, had a phone-a-thon back in or a telethon in the mid-'70s to save the team. The Indians, with some of the local business leaders, did a stock sale to keep the team in town. So there's just some of those things, and that just helps, I think, have bred a great culture and a great marriage between the city, central Indiana, and what the Indianapolis Indians mean to it, and what the community means to us.
For people that maybe haven't been out to an Indians game or haven't been out to one lately, a lot of the knock on baseball is, man, it's so slow, it's so long. And I know you guys do a lot of things, really focus on the experience for fans. Talk about what those experiences look like now. How are you keeping it kind of fun and very family friendly, at that, so that people go, like, you can bring everybody and just enjoy this experience?
Yeah. Well, I mean, our best promotion last year was we brought Bluey and Bingo. A year and a half ago, I didn't know who Bluey and Bingo are, because I'm like, Bluey and Bingo, what are we talking about? But if you've got kids ages 2 to 7, you know exactly who I'm talking about. It's our biggest promotion. We had 13,000 people here on a Saturday in April. That's unheard of. So it's finding those kinds of things. It just
hold on real quick. I got to jump and ask. Talk about the bananas.
Yeah, well, and and what did they say? Baseball was boring, so they sped everything up, right? And it's nothing but a dance party with baseball mixed in, 2-hour time limits, all those other kinds of things. So they recognize that. They've taken their tour on the road. They came here in 23 and 24. They're not coming in 25. We're going to replace it with Cosmic Baseball. It's another group that's going to do a little barnstorming tour, and they're going to play under black light for the second half of their game, and it's all glow in the dark. Now, we haven't seen it live yet, but we're going to go check out a couple places here where they're doing it in April and May. We're going to check that out. But, I mean, everything's for us, it's promotion driven. It's those kinds of things that it's not necessarily focused on the field. I talked about our value. We usually have a ticket discount during the week or a concessions discount. All those things matter to what we do. But as far as technology and the pace of game and generating interest, I mean, Major League Baseball has been at the forefront of that. I mean, I was against having a clock. We now have a clock. We've been the testing ground for clock, for the ABS, automatic balls and strikes. All of those things are intentional to help speed up the game and showcase the athleticism of these baseball players. They're more athletic than they've ever been. Travis, and if you know me and you look at me, I was a baseball player. I was never told to lift weights. In fact, that was the opposite of what you were told to do. Now come look at our baseball players, and they're cut up just like any other professional athlete. It's unbelievable the difference in all of those things. But the technology, the speed, size, skill of the players, all that other stuff has certainly made the game more exciting. And we've seen as a game, baseball, major and minor league attendance growth over the last 3 years, and certainly expect that to continue.
I know a lot of people, think about coming down if they get to be in a suite or they get to be in a certain seat or close to this spot or that. What are maybe 2 or 3 spots that you're like, you should definitely come and watch a game from here because it's a great experience?
Well, I'll give you, you can't beat a box seat behind a dugout. That goes without saying. That's nostalgia and everything else. But for us, there's 2 particular spots. One, is our outfield lawn area. It is unique. There are lots of minor league facilities that have lawn berm seating in their outfields. However, there aren't many, if any, that commit to it like we have. Our full outfield is lawn seating. And I'll go back to those days when I worked in the box office when we moved from Busch Stadium to Victory Field. And I got yelled at. What do you mean you're going to sell me a ticket and I'm not going to be in a chair? And you're going to tell me I can bring in a blanket? Well, that is arguably for our families. We do our bark in the parks where you can bring in your dog 6 or 8 times during the course of the year. It's arguably become one of our more popular seating areas. You're still allowed to bring in your own food and drink, non-alcoholic, of course, but all those other kinds of things. So that's very unique. It's our most fan-friendly and affordable way to take in an Indians game. You bring in your kiddos. They can roll around in the grass. It's free. It's open. It's safe. It's secure. It's awesome. But I would be remiss that premium seating is really where we see our biggest demand at Victory Field. And coming out of the pandemic, we were supposed to open up the Elements Financial Hub in 2020. We didn't play. But since 2021, we've had that club back behind home plate. It's an all-inclusive experience. It's our most expensive ticket. But you can get indoors, outdoors. You get a table out front, right behind home plate in the upper deck. It's probably the best spot to view a game from a pure baseball perspective because you're lifted up a little bit above home plate. All-inclusive food and beverage, as I said. It's a great opportunity to mingle with your own group, a large group, or just other fans at the game. And we've been able to utilize that space for non-Indians games as well. We had a luncheon here yesterday with Tara Glenn's not-for-profit, all kinds of things. And so it's opened up a lot of doors, but for an Indians game, that's probably the best spot to take in a game.
Well, I gotta get to our rapid fire favorites because we're out of time. But one of the cool things you guys did that I was able to attend a couple of years ago was the swing event. Obviously, Mother Nature had some different energy for it this year. Talk a little about that event and the idea behind that event and why it's so cool.
Yeah, well, thanks for bringing that up. And again, we talked about community earlier as well. We've always been involved in the community. We've always had a charitable endeavor and heart through donating tickets and use of the facility and all those other things. We really formalized that in 2019 with the creation of Indianapolis Indians Charities. And what Swing is it's the signature event for our charity that raises funds. It's the last Friday in September. We've done it for 2 years. Last year we had to make a lot of modifications and actually had to cancel the public portion because we had a hurricane that came through, if you remember, in late September. But it's it's on the field with a stage in center field. There's lounges, there's tables. We've got incredible VIP activations where we create these speakeasies in our clubhouses and in our batting tunnels. Lots of great opportunities for local restaurants to share their delicacies on our concourse level. Food and drink always included. It's amazing. We've got We've had 2,500 people the last couple of years. We've got lots of room to grow. We're really excited for year number 3. If I check my calendar here real quick, September 26th.
And it's a 1954 or 50s theme, is that right?
1920s theme, yeah.
20s theme, okay.
Swing, old school, harkening back to that history. I was amazed in year 1, Travis. You tell people, hey, dress to the theme, and you think you're going to get a smattering of people. I would tell you, even in year 1, it was if you weren't dressed in 20s garb, you were out of place.
Yeah.
And it was awesome how people took to that. Really, and then now everybody wants to outdo themselves in year 2.
Absolutely.
We're going to see what year 3 has to hold because it's a really cool event.
Well, we've been blessed to be able to do Rev and Zubilation and, all the cool events in our city. And that was our favorite. My wife and I went and we enjoyed it. We dressed up and she had a cute little hat on and we were figuring out our outfits and going back inside the dugouts and seeing like the old school 20, 30, 40 theme of like what that speakeasy and doing the gambling back there. I mean, not real gambling, but it was just so much fun and it was a different experience than we've ever had. And so kudos to you guys. Looking forward to coming back there for sure.
Thank you. We'll look forward to having you for sure.
All right. So here it is. Rapid fire hot seat. How we're going to finish this thing. Here you go. Favorite minor league ballpark, not yours.
Ooh, El Paso.
Guilty pleasure snack at the park.
Well, I'm still a hot dog guy. It's all about a hot dog. I will have one at the beginning of every homestand just to make sure we're doing it right.
A brand that you love.
Brand that I love. I'm an Under Armour guy. I'm wearing it today. And that's mostly because they came out with dry fit. I got to go dry fit. I mean, that's not the norm anymore, but I was an early adopter.
Not Indians, but professional or college sports team that you love to support.
2, the Seattle Seahawks in the NFL. I'll have to say 3, the Pirates because they're our affiliate, and I am a baseball guy. But my most beloved team is the Chicago Blackhawks. I grew up in Chicago. It's a long story, but that's my team.
Favorite baseball movie of all time?
Oh, I still think Bull Durham's the best.
I mean, it's Kevin Costner just did that thing so well. Favorite Hall of Fame baseball player that you just have always loved?
Boy, Travis, that's a tough one. There's so many. My favorite player of all time is Will Clark. He's not a Hall of Famer.
Yeah.
He was a long, lanky lefty like me who couldn't run and could hit a little bit. I'm going to say Frank Thomas. I grew up a White Sox fan growing up in Chicago.
All right. Do you use Mac or PC?
Oh, I'm a PC guy. Mac, my brain's not wired for Mac.
iPhone or Android?
iPhone.
See, I can't even get my head around that.
I can't either, but I started out as an Android guy, and then it was just too hard, and that was early on, and I made the switch. I've long been an iPhone guy.
Gaming station you played as a kid?
Well, in college, it was Nintendo. I mean, we played Tecmo Bowl like you wouldn't believe. That's going to resonate with a lot of people. And at my age, well, we had our baseball team had some of the best Tecmo Bowl. We played full season through the playoffs. I was unstoppable with the Cincinnati Bengals.
If you had a theme song, what would it be?
Theme song. Boy, this is going to be crazy, but believe it or not, one of my two favorite bands are Pearl Jam and Godsmack, and that's going to throw you for a loop, Travis. But everyone asks me what would your walk-up song be. I think "Alive" by Pearl Jam would be pretty good.
All right, a book you'd recommend?
Boy, I'm not a book reader. I'm just not.
Okay. If you could switch lives with a famous person for a day, who would it be?
Famous person for a day. I'd like to talk to George W. Bush. He owned the Texas Rangers. He was the president of the United States. Mm-hmm. Lots of things that I have interest in that would intersect. I'd love to have a conversation with him.
One thing on your bucket list you haven't done yet?
I've been fortunate. I've been able to go to so many pretty cool. As a kid, I always would have thought it was sporting events, and I've been so fortunate to go to so many just because of my position and some of the connections that you make. Bucket list, I'm going to say I'm going to travel to Australia. I think that'd be really cool.
Funny, we recorded my oldest daughter's in Australia right now. Went to the Drake concert last night. Out there just living her best life, at 23. So.
Oh my gosh,
and it wasn't on my dime. She funded it herself, so that's even better. So
that is really good. Congrats to you.
Are you going with Babe Ruth or Roger Maris?
Roger Maris, because he played for the Indianapolis Indians.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Willie Mays or Jackie Robinson?
Jackie Robinson, and because our buddy Carl Erskine, who's an Anderson University guy, Anderson College back in the day, he and Jackie were such great buddies.
Most memorable Indian season for you?
I'm going to say most memorable. It's got to be 1996. As we moved to Victory Field, as Max Schumacher back in the day called it the challenge of a lifetime. We've had plenty of those since, but to move into what this ballpark has meant for the city, most people don't realize this, Travis. Victory Field is older than Market Square Arena or the RCA Dome ever were before they got torn down. Remember that. And what this ballpark, and it was built the year after Circle Center Mall, 95. Victory Field opened up in 1996. What this ballpark has meant for the city, the number of people we've drove downtown, and what it's meant for our organization, it's certainly 1996 for sure.
Well, you're almost off the hot seat. Just one last question for you. I'd love to talk a little bit about legacy. Randy, when it's all over, said and done, what do you want people to say or remember about you?
About me?
Yeah.
It's always about the organization. It is. I mean, we are, we're a little bit of the little engine that could, again, being a minor league franchise that is probably very widely respected within our industry, within minor league baseball. But Indianapolis is shooting for Lombardi trophies and NBA championships. And so for us to continue to be successful, mean what we do to the community and how we can contribute to the vibrancy and what we do and how Indianapolis just works so well together and everything that we mean as a city, and to be a part of that, both sports, entertainment, and community. I think to continue that on with our legacy of 120 plus years of professional baseball in Indianapolis, to have about 25% of that in my career to date, that means a lot. However much longer I'm blessed to be able to go and lead the organization. we'll find out. But just to be a part of that for such a long-standing organization in this great city, that means a lot.
Randy, I really appreciate you taking some time out. I know you're getting ready to get in the heart of your season, so thank you for stopping by and chatting about some baseball today with me.
Travis, loved it. Thank you very much. Congrats on everything you do and what you mean to our community as well. Thank you.
Thank you.